friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. And by ears, I mean your undivided attention for the next few minutes as we delve into a topic that's plagued humanity for far too long: plagiarism, or, as I like to call it, intellectual appropriation. Now, before you brand me a heretic of the highest order, hear me out. This isn't about condoning laziness or dishonesty. It's about challenging the very notion of intellectual property. Is it not absurd that we treat ideas, those ephemeral wisps of thought, as if they were tangible objects to be hoarded and protected? Just think about it. If I steal your idea, you still have it, don't you? In fact, now there are two of us who possess this brilliant concept. It's like cloning a sheep, only with less bleeding and more existential angst. Let's face it, the digital age has rendered traditional notions of ownership obsolete. Information wants to be free, baby. Like a caged bird yearning to soar through the boundless sky, ideas long to break free from the shackles of copyright law and spread their wings across the internet. And who are we to stand in the way of this glorious liberation? Who among us hasn't hummed a catchy tune without rushing to pay royalties, or shared a funny meme without crediting the original creator? We are all guilty of participating in this grand exchange of ideas, this glorious free-for-all of intellectual inspiration. So the next time you feel a pang of guilt for borrowing a particularly witty turn of phrase or a clever plot device, just remember, you're not a plagiarist, you're a liberator. You're setting ideas free. But what about the victims, you ask? Surely the original creators are being harmed by this rampant plagiarism. Well, let's examine that claim, shall we? First, consider the countless authors and artists throughout history who borrowed liberally from their predecessors. Shakespeare, for example, was notorious for lifting plots and characters from earlier works. Did anyone bat an eyelid? Not really. And what about the ancient Greeks? Those toga-clad philosophers built their entire civilization on borrowed ideas, shamelessly appropriating myths and legends from their neighbors. Did anyone accuse them of intellectual property theft? Nope. The truth is, most of these so-called victims are either long dead or mega corporations with more money than they know what to do with. So forgive me if I don't shed too many tears over their plight. Let's be honest. The real reason plagiarism is so rampant is that the price of genius is simply too damn high. Books, movies, music, they're all locked behind paywalls, accessible only to those with deep pockets and a penchant for consumerism. Why should we be forced to shell out exorbitant sums for the privilege of experiencing someone else's creativity, especially when there are perfectly good and free alternatives available at the click of a button? I mean, have you seen the price of a first edition Shakespeare folio lately? It's enough to make you want to take up piracy instead. So the next time you're tempted to download a pirated movie or borrow a few paragraphs from an academic journal, just remember, you're not a criminal. You're a savvy consumer fighting back against the tyranny of the intellectual property industrial complex. Section 5. Shakespeare, master plagiarist, or just a really good borrower? Let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the bard on the stage. William Shakespeare. This literary giant, this master wordsmith, this, well, you get the point. He was also a bit of a magpie when it came to source material.
Romeo and Juliet, Arthur Brooks' poem.
Hamlet, a revenge tale that predates Shakespeare by centuries.
The list goes on. But did anyone accuse Shakespeare of plagiarism? Of course not. He was a genius. Those old stories, breathe new life into them. And that, my friends, is the key.
So, if you're going to borrow an idea, do it with panache, make it your own, transform it into something new and wonderful.
Who knows, you might even become the next Shakespeare.
Just, maybe credit your sources this time around.
Section 6. A modern-day ethical dilemma. Did my AI steal that? The digital age, where artificial intelligence can write our essays, compose our symphonies, and even create stunning works of visual art. It's truly a brave new world, but it also presents us with a rather intriguing ethical dilemma. If my AI generates a piece of content that's suspiciously similar to an existing work, is it plagiarism? I mean, I didn't technically it, my AI did, and AI doesn't have the same moral compass as us humans. It's just a collection of algorithms blindly following instructions. So if it happens to spit out a sonnet that sounds a lot like Shakespeare, or a pop song that bears an uncanny resemblance to the latest Beyoncé hit, can we really blame it? Or, more importantly, can we blame the AI? It's a slippery slope, my friends, and one that we'll need to navigate carefully as we enter this brave new world of AI-generated content. Section 7. Harvard weighs in plagiarism gets a passing grade. In a groundbreaking new study, researchers at Harvard University have concluded that plagiarism is not that big of a deal. The study, which surveyed hundreds of professors, artists, and other intellectuals, found that a majority of respondents believe that borrowing ideas is an essential part of the creative process. Creativity is not about reinventing the wheel, said Dr. Emily Carter, the study's lead author. It's about taking existing ideas and building upon them, transforming them into something new and original. The study also found that most respondents believe that the current copyright system is outdated and stifles creativity. Copyright law was designed for a different era, said Dr. Carter. It's time we update our laws to reflect the realities of the digital age. So, there you have it. Even Harvard thinks plagiarism is A-OK. Case closed. Section 8. In conclusion, let's get real, or should we say surreal? We've laughed, we've cried, we've questioned the very fabric of reality, but now it's time to get real. Or should we say surreal? Because the truth is, plagiarism is a complex issue with no easy answers. On the one hand, we have the rights of creators to protect their work and profit from their creativity. On the other hand, we have the free flow of information and the importance of building upon the ideas of those who came before. So what's the answer? I'm not sure, but I do know one thing. If you're going to borrow someone else's work, at least have the decency to do it with a little style, and maybe, just maybe, give them a shout out in the footnotes. Section 9. A never gonna give you up twist ending. But in all seriousness, folks, plagiarism is not okay. It's unethical, it's unfair, and it's just plain lazy. So please, do your own work, be original, and if you must borrow an idea, give credit where credit is due. Because as the great philosopher Rick Astley once said, never going to give you up, never going to let you down, never going to run around and desert you. And that, my friends, is a promise you can take to the bank or, to your next essay. And just make sure you cite your sources.